Okay guys, I'm going to make you a short video on dividing decimals using the standard algorithm. So we're going to start by dividing a decimal by a whole number. So let's start with, let's say 2.7, and we will divide that by 3. So 3 is our divisor, 2.7 is our dividend, and our answer will be called our quotient. So as long as your divisor is a whole number, all you're going to do is simply start by bringing your decimal straight up above where it already is into your answer bar. And then you're going to work out the problem. You'll ask yourself, can 3 go into 2? No, it cannot. It goes 0 times. So I'm going to put a 0 there to hold my place. Then I'm going to ask myself, will 3 go into 27? Yes, it will. 3 goes into 27 9 times. So 9 times 3 is 27. Subtract. I'm left with 0. There's no digits left to bring down, so my answer is 0.9. And that's pretty straightforward. But what if we have a whole number being divided by a decimal? So let's say we have 48 divided by 1.2. Okay, you cannot start off with a decimal as your divisor. So what you have to do is you have to get rid of that decimal. Well, how can I get rid of my decimal? I can multiply by powers of 10. So I can think of this as what I'm really doing is I'm saying 1.2 times 10, which would just be 12, which would have my decimal move one place. So if I take this decimal and stick it over here, there are no digits behind my decimal. However, if you do it to your divisor, you also have to do it to your dividend, which means I would also have to multiply my dividend by 10. So that would be 48 times 10, or 480. So my decimal is currently right here. That would be the same thing as moving it one place. So basically we would have to add a 0. So when I rewrite my problem, it would look like 12 going into 480, because that would be me moving my decimal to here, and then moving my decimal to here, and then remember, we just bring our decimal straight up. Now, I start my problem just like I always would. Will 12 go into 4? No. It goes 0 times. We can put our 0 there if we want to. Will 12 go into 48? Yes, it will. 4 times. 12 times 4 is 48. Subtract. Now, I can't stop because there's another digit. I still have to bring down that 0. So I'll bring that down. I ask myself, how many times can 12 go into 0? Well, it can't go. What's going to give me 0? 0. So 0 times 12 is 0. Now I can subtract, and I'm finished with the problem. So my answer was 40. So the answer to 48 divided by 1.2 was 40. All right, and we will do one final example. And this time we're going to do a decimal by a decimal. So let's do 1.32, and we will divide that by 1.1. Okay? All right, so remember, we can't have a decimal as our divisor, so I need to move that decimal. So I'm going to move that decimal. I'm going to use a different color for just a minute to make it easier for you to see. So I'm going to move this decimal and make it at the end, because I don't mind if it's at the end. If I do it there, I also am going to do it here. So I'm going to have to move my decimal to here, then bring my decimal straight up into my answer. Okay? Now I'm ready to go back to my problem and divide. Okay, so now I'm asking myself, can 11 go into 1? No, it can't. Can 11 go into 13? Sure, it can go one time. 1 times 11 is 11. Oops. Subtract that. I end up with 2. Drop down my other 2. Can 11 go into 22? Yes, it can. 2 times. 11 times 2 is 22. Subtract, and we end with 0. So remember, anytime you're dividing a decimal into a whole number or a decimal into another decimal. You just have to move that decimal to get it out of your problem. Whatever you do in your dividend, repeat that in your, or whatever you do in your divisor, repeat it in your dividend. All right, guys, there you go. Hope that helps.